Mics are hot.
And what I just said, the mics were hot. They were actually, my mic gets hot even before your mics get hot, before I even turn it on. My mic is that way. Good Friday Eve. It's the 10th of July, one day closer to the end of hurricane season, Christmas, and the beginning of the 2026 election cycle. I'm so looking forward to it.
Me too.
Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Chris Marks.
I'm Lee Barrows.
And okay, well, let's do a couple things here. Kelly is okay, but she's recovering. She's having to take a little bit of time, R&R stuff.
Right.
So hopefully she's not listening this morning because I got a joke to tell a little bit. And I don't want her to listen to my lame joke. What do you think? Should I do it before she's up and listening?
She better be asleep and resting.
Well,
Yeah.
give,
If she's
call
not,
her up and be sure she is.
No.
Give her a call. What's her number?
we're not doing it. Stop.
Oh, that's not nice, is it?
No, it's not nice.
Okay, and keeping with my new thought process, a good guy report to lead off this morning.
A good guy?
A good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start.
You're not going to love the ending.
Uh-oh.
A young man surf fishing in Nantucket over the holiday weekend caught a sand shark. Those things are also known around these parts as sandbar sharks, perhaps, and then removed the hook from the beached shark. Started dragging the denizen of the deep back into the ocean. That's really a really cool thing. The guy was only 21 years old,
But
a true sportsman.
Yeah.
He's dragging that shark back into the ocean. A lot of folks would have left the creature to die on the beach or even take a knife and kill him. Seen that a lot. Unfortunately, the shark was not a gentleman. While returning him to the sea, the shark turned around and bit the fisherman on his leg. Left quite a wound. He was taken first to a local hospital, then flown to a mainland hospital for treatment. That smiling shark is now in search of other fishermen
wow.
as he patrols along coastal New England waters.
I saw that story. And all I could think of was dummy.
What?
Dummy.
Who?
The guy.
Did you just call my
surfer?
friend? Did you just call my friend a dummy?
He was dragging it by his tail.
How would you grab him by the mouth?
I wouldn't have grabbed it at all. I would have just,
Left him on the beach to die?
I don't know, got some Gorilla Tape and taped his mouth first. I don't know what I would have done, but I guess he
We could
just,
call up my buddy down there in Carolina Beach because he used to do videos for a TV program every week, right? So he
Yes.
wanted to do one on shark fishing. So he had about 4 rods set out. Late afternoon, early evening, not quite dark yet. Sun was still up, but it was on his way down. And there's near the pier at Curie Beach. And as luck would have it, I had my camera trained on one of the rods. Don't know why I picked that one, but I did. And that tip went down, and then you heard the zzz, and then I turned the camera towards the beach, or towards where the water was, and this spinner shark was jumping out of the water. It was interesting to watch those. So he did that a while. And Andy set the hook, and then the fight was on. He fought that shark. He pulled him in. The shark would take it out. He pulled him in. The shark would take it out. He was fishing with big rig. And as he wound up, he'd get the shark a little bit closer, but the shark was moving down the beach. A little over a mile later, we were walking down the beach over an hour fighting the shark, and he finally had him up in the shallows. And the shark beached on a little wave that came in.
yeah,
So Andy goes down and he just cuts the hook because the hook will rust away.
right.
He just cut the hook real quick, and the shark is about 6 feet long.
Oof.
Yeah, that's a good,
That's a good shark.
And so he goes around, a crowd had gathered, and he started grabbed the shark by the tail and was dragging him out there. And I did literally see a man walk on thin air.
Yeah.
That shark turned around. That shark did a complete with his mouth, his body. He pivoted and reached for Andy. Andy jumped straight up, walked in the air across to
That's what I'm
safety,
talking about.
and a wave came in, and the shark was gone.
Yeah,
Andy is a sportsman, but my God, he was a daredevil that day.
the guy in your story did a good thing.
He
but,
did.
You know, and you know, I understand that, but you know, not yanking, but pulling a shark by his tail is about like pulling an alligator by his tail. expect him to come around, snap at you.
How are you? You can't get him in the water any other way.
I don't know how I would. I'd be calling for help and let somebody else get bit.
You can gently
Mm.
kick him. It reminded me of
Kick 'em.
in a night. No,
Kick
kick
'em.
him like just kind of push him with your feet.
No.
He's not going to turn around and
I
bite
think
you.
I'd
down.
get me a big 2x4 and just shove it
So-
into the water.
La-
I don't know what I would do, honestly. Well, me personally, I wouldn't do anything. I'd let somebody else do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Last week, I was at a shopping center in Richlands
Mhm.
with a grocery store there. Everybody was running in, going, "Oh my gosh, there's a snake out there in the parking lot," which there was. It was about 6 foot.
6-foot snake?
Yeah, and everybody was
Was a big old black snake.
no green garden.
Oh, green snake. Garden
Yeah.
snake. Okay,
Everybody was.
but a little tiny, not big around, right?
Snake is a snake to me.
About like that.
Sorry.
And
Snake
so I
is
just
a
went and
snake.
grabbed an umbrella and just kind of scooted him along.
Well, you
from-
can do that, but a shark on dry land,
No,
it's
you're
hard,
not-
it's hard to maneuver them. They don't have feet.
Someone went, "You're a real hero for doing that." I went,
Really?
"Okay, sure." Yeah. Sharks, snakes.
Shark. I'll put up with a shark more than I will a snake.
Yeah.
I don't like snakes.
I don't like snakes.
I don't run
either.
from them.
Um,
Don't run from them, but you know,
I don't
Avoid.
run to them either.
I avoid them or I confront them. One or the other. It just depends on what kind of snake it is.
Do people say, well, what kind of snake was it? Was it poison? I'm not taking the time to sit there and look up a snake in an encyclopedia or on Google or whatever to find out if it's a good snake or a bad snake.
You know, that's the point.
Snake is a snake.
Robbie's got this app that she can take pictures of leaves
Yeah.
Yes.
and identifies what it is. Do they have that for snakes? Can you
Yes,
take-
they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
They have an app for everything. But Rayford, if there's a snake, I'm not sitting there like, let me get out my phone and go to my app and see what kind of snake
Smile.
this is, so I can decide whether to go ahead and have my heart attack now. I mean, seriously,
If you have a black snake in your yard,
that I
keep
pretty
it.
much know. But
Because that kills the venomous snakes, from what I read.
are you sure?
I'm not going to sit
That's why
around
you
and wait
read
and
it.
find out.
Are you positive?
I hadn't seen him kill one.
either.
No,
Bye.
that's a good story to start with.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Yeah,
he
I'll be
lived
sitting
and
there.
he's happy, and I'm sure he's probably
This little thing
like,
that touches my leg this morning.
gummit. That snake, that shark bit me. I was just trying to help that snake. I won't be able. I bet he won't help any more sharks.
I didn't realize his bite was that bad because I had read that story. But you said he was airbagged later?
Well, Nantucket's an island, okay? So they
Oh,
treated him at the local dock in a box or whatever. And then they flew him back to the mainland for treatment.
I've heard of Jack in the Box, but never a Doc in the Box.
You never heard of Doc in the Box?
No, I've never heard
that's
that
all these
expression.
urgent. That's what all these urgent care places.
Yeah, that's what
Doc
we
in
call
the
them.
Box.
I call them. I've just never
They're great
heard
places. I mean, you know, it's kind of like the big box stores. You
Doc in the
got to go
Box.
sometime sooner or later. Texas is not the only place with
No.
flood issues. 3 people have died so far. Historic flash flooding, they're calling it, in the mountain town of Ruidoso, whatever, southern New Mexico. 2.5 inches of rainfall. And I'm thinking about the days that we've had 2.5, 3, 4 inches of rain here. The difference between us and the mountains stuff is hard. It
Right.
doesn't sink
It's
into the
clay.
ground. It just there, and it becomes rivers. And that's when flash flooding happens.
Right.
Here we got sand, and we have porous stuff here. Except on some of the roadways that we've got around here, that some of the drainage is not the best in the world, and therefore they will flood, and they will have, looks like sometimes some fairly rapid moving big water too. And I can see for the water in some of those roads there.
Yeah.
Was a medical park or something like that, doctors, something.
Doctor's Park.
And over there off of Western Boulevard, I was there waiting at a doctor's office one day when, it's had a gully washer, literally a downpour, and the water was probably 8 inches deep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, well, anyway,
I'll tell you, with all these areas that have been flooding lately and the loss of life and the missing, I'm sitting there thinking I need to get some
We're lucky right here.
vest for my dogs and a blow up little boat and just be prepared.
If you're gonna have to wait to blow it up, you know.
Well, one of those, so you pull the cord and they just, something easy.
I can get you one of those if you like. It's about $1,500.
Now I'm looking for those cheap ones like on Amazon. Something get me out of the
Anyway,
house.
this rained 2.5 inches. It triggered a runoff into the river Tuesday, and caused waters to rise about 20 feet in the river. Now, most rivers, unless it's a very dry spell, they don't have 20 feet of extra room before you reach the top of it, and it reaches the banks. At one river gauge, 19 feet in less than an hour. There's not a whole lot of advance notice for something like that.
No.
So, and you have to be able to, people say, you didn't predict the flooding. Well, we didn't predict 2.5 inches of rain in an hour. And that's the problem. It's hard. One cloud, one thunder boomer that's coming by here could stall here, there, wherever, and could drop that much rain. And then what you going to do? You hope you got something that'll go away with, but in the mountain areas, they don't. It just has to go away. I saw video yesterday of a home going by.
I was just going to say, one of our listeners on YouTube, Too Real, he made mention yesterday, asked, had we seen that video? So
I did.
I saw it last night, and I was like,
wow.
It just broke away and just started floating.
Yeah, it broke away. It's floating. It's tearing apart, coming apart.
Yes.
Vehicles, a number of vehicles were swept away. Those are the ones that get really dangerous. People are in them and they don't want to abandon their car for one reason or another. Well, I can understand that. You get out of your car because it's being swept away by the water. Well, then you have no protection.
Right.
Guess what? You don't have any protection in the car either. When it sinks, you go down with it.
I was watching a video yesterday of somebody, and it was over in the Texas area, and the bridge had water on top of it, and here comes a van. It was an SUV. Thought, I'm just going to drive through it when all the other cars were stopped. And he didn't get probably 4 or 5 feet before the water took a hold and started spinning his SUV around, and I'm like, duh.
85 people at least were rescued as of last night. Wildfires last year near that river, including the South Fork and Salt fires. I remember reading about those. May have contributed to the flooding. Fires reduce the vegetation and roots holding soil in place, and they can cause the soil to become unstable and more susceptible to flash floods. Okay. What kind of instruments, how many people on staff, how many people at the National Weather Service or at NOAA can stop that?
I'm going to tell you what, they have really taken to social media lately, letting people know that they did their job.
They did do that.
Yes,
putting
they
out
did.
the warnings.
The floods this week come amid the North American monsoon season, impacting the U.S. Southwest from July to early or mid-September. Y'all, it ain't over yet. The death toll from Central Texas floods, now 120. 170 people are believed to be missing.
You know, Rayford, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up too, is we were so focused, well, the news media, all of us were focused on the number of deaths.
Yeah.
I didn't realize the number's still unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Now, they could be somewhere else, maybe not been able to make contact. It doesn't mean that they're unalive,
No.
as the new word is. But I was shocked over that.
They're going through these debris piles,
Right.
hoping and praying. And there's a good chance that some may survive.
They had a big news conference yesterday about that. Multiple law enforcement officers, one police chief in Kerrsville.
Yes.
He was telling folks in his town, if you've got a lot of debris that you're piling up or debris has piled up, don't go getting large, heavy equipment to start moving it.
No.
We call us. We want to examine it. There may be missing people in it. If you get big debris moving equipment, they might not even see it.
No.
And you don't want to take away someone's the remains of someone's loved one. So and you don't want it to damage them any more than they are. They're dead. So you just don't want to do that. So he's asked them to be. Now, the other thing that they've now got to be careful of is that dreaded word snake. High water brings up snakes, debris piles, snakes. Snakes can survive on logs that are floating down the river until they come ashore and they all pile up and whatever. They can be everywhere. And they will also seek refuge. And they go to debris piles. We know that if you just pile up a bunch of junk around your house, they're going to be there. That's the way it happens. So they've got all of these extra problems there. I feel awful. But I don't know what else to say.
I don't people understand that here in Onslow County, we've experienced some. Remember Highway 53?
Yeah.
Bergall Highway.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was horrible.
It was impassable.
Right.
5 to 6 feet of water, and now anybody that lives there are rebuilding their homes or did
Right.
on stilts
Yes.
because they still want to stay
Now,
there.
there's the infamous White Stocking Road off of 53 in Bergall,
Yeah.
up that way. And that thing, I'm not sure why anybody would replace a mobile home there that was destroyed by the floods 3 times.
Right.
Love,
they
I like
have.
it. Love, I guess.
No. Can y'all raise that thing up a little bit?
Yeah.
The rescues, the water rescues, I saw so much of that after post Hurricanes. Floyd was an intense one. When I was in Wilmington, we had to basically position a crew up there because they were going out every day, rescuing people, wading out through the water. And again, the water is warm. It's summertime, and those things, yes, they get up there and they crawl around. Gators also come out from the deep swamps. So what are you looking for underneath there? You're looking for.
You keep
gator.
talking about snakes and gators. I'm just making sure everything's.
There are no sharks there. You don't have to worry about those.
Good Lord. The least little thing touches my leg and I start squealing.
Keep your hands away. It's we are lucky around here. We get predictions and we should all know. We really should. Every one of us should be aware. Hurricanes will happen, not here necessarily, and it might not be this year, but sooner or later it's going to happen. We need to take precautions, and I don't know how many times we can tell you we're 1 month and 2 weeks into the hurricane season. We got 4.5 months to go.
Yeah. Well, let me
And
see.
we're not near the peak.
Yeah,
Peak is in
the
September.
peak is.
Yeah.
So
Yes. So you have plenty of time to get all your stuff fixed in the backyard and
make a plan. Have a plan.
and have a plan
That's the
and do your
biggest thing.
shopping. And each time you go to the store to do your bulk shopping, pick up a few things.
Oh yeah, you can
Put
pick
them
them
away,
up
that's what I do.
And don't put those in the front of your pantry.
Mm-mm.
Go to the back of your pantry where you've also got 4 cans left of that same product,
Right.
and put that stuff out front. Do like they do in the grocery stores when they're stocking shelves. They're supposed to take the older stuff and put it out front, put the new stuff in the back.
Rotate your stock.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the phrase.
And the other thing, if I can, 'cause
Yes.
I've already seen them out there, generators. Do not wait until the day before and go, I need a generator.
I've got to get
Or
one.
even worse, I bought one last year. I put me some gas in it. That sucker was running fine. Have you started it?
Yeah.
It was
I've not
working
started
fine
mine.
last year. When did you start? It was doing great last time I started last year. Let me explain something. If
Those
you didn't drain that
suckers.
gasoline in it and you go out that gas at your friendly gas station where you fill up your cars, it ain't going to start.
No.
Because you got ethanol. Ethanol is a mixture of gasoline and alcohol. Alcohol is lighter than water or lighter than the gasoline, and it will demix. It goes through a phase cancellation process, phase separation, and it floats to the top.
Mhm.
Alcohol absorbs moisture. There's moisture in our air. In case you haven't looked outside, right now it's 99% humidity. In this house, we've got dehumidifiers all over this house. They have to be emptied every day.
Wow.
One of them multiple times a day. It has a 3-gallon tank. It sucks up that much water every day, at least once. Okay? We got moisture. That gasoline, when that alcohol absorbs the moisture, it is now heavier than the gasoline. Straight to the bottom it goes. Where is your fuel pickup? For you guys who understand this stuff, your fuel pickup is at the bottom of that gas tank. At the top would do you no good. Think about it. At the top of your gas tank, there's nothing up there. Your
Miller time.
your water laden gasoline is going to be the first thing your motor sucks up when you try to start it.
Oh no, I
It
haven't.
will run for a few seconds, maybe, and then it's got water mixed with gasoline, and then it stops running. Then you got to drain it, then you got to clean it, then you got to start from scratch. Folks, if you've got gasoline left in your generators from last year, go ahead and dump it out. If you don't believe what I'm saying, dump it out into a glass jar, let it sit up in the corner while you have a beer. Look at that little layer that forms at the bottom. That's the heavy part. That's the water mixed with alcohol, and the alcohol has now gone away. So you've got water. Okay.
Rayford, I have news for you.
What?
3 weeks from today, Chris, what starts 3 weeks from today?
I know.
It's Rayford's birthday
Miller
3
time.
weeks from today. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. You know what I want? I want a radio. You want me to send you the description of it? It's
Yeah,
it's kind of a, it's
yeah.
kind of a neat thing. It's just called a Flex radio,
8K.
a Flex Aurora. Okay.
Mhm.
And while we're at it, why don't we get you a boat as well?
I got a couple of those. I want to sell one of them. You want to buy one?
I don't have any money, so can you buy one for me?
Well, I
I've already
would, Chris,
got it.
but you don't have any time. Forget the money. You don't have any time.
No.
What do you mean
Chris,
you would?
No. Chris.
Which Chris?
No, the other one.
Okay.
Chris, you are a sports writer, sports editor of a newspaper, the Jacksonville Daily News. You're an all-around sports enthusiast, right?
Yes, sir.
So how much time do you spend in the sport of fishing every year?
Not much. I really didn't really do too much on the Big Rock this year, just because of time, and there wasn't really any local boats this year. And and to be honest, I'm not trying to talk mean or anything, but the Big Rock folks, I mean, they used to have a media guy, Bruce Paul. I don't know if you remember him, Rayford. Really nice guy. Actually used to work for the Carter paper many, many years ago. Really great guy to give you some great story ideas, and they kind of shied away from that, and they kind of moved it more toward the social media aspect of things, which is, I get it. That's just the way we are in society now. But it is a little disappointing that the emphasis on emphasis on helping the media out at the Big Rock is kind of taking a back seat to more of the commercialization of things.
Yep,
If that makes sense.
I agree.
I understand, and everybody wants to go home and watch it live or watch replays and do this and that and whatever. You can't get the backstory on that, though. You cannot get the feelings, the real feelings. You get some guy was caught a big fish, cut out. It was a great time. I had a great time pulling it in. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
and
you
I
get.
tell you what, Rayford, we had some great stories back in the Big Rock. And I know the Big Rock.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember doing a story. Do you remember that one time nobody fished but one little boat? And I mean, that probably happened about 6-7 years ago.
Yes,
and
I do.
You could tell the guy was having a good time. We'll just say that.
Yeah, buddy.
But it made for a great. It made for. I interviewed him over the phone and had a great time interviewing him. Like I said, probably 5-6 years ago, and it was a great interview and produced a great story about why were you the only one out there? What prompted you? And then obviously you had that Holly Ridge boat that won a few years ago, and the young man, but the older gentleman that would say the prayer and bless the fleet every morning. We did a story on that several years ago.
Yeah,
and,
Randy Ramsey.
no, it was before that. I forgot what the gentleman's name was. Randy's done it the last several years, but there was an older gentleman that used to do it for years before him.
Okay.
So,
All right. I didn't know that. No, I did know that. I think Randy was talking about that one day.
Yeah,
Maybe
so I
something
forgot
picked
the
up the
gentleman's
tradition.
name, but we did a story on that probably about 7 years ago, and unfortunately the gentleman passed away, I think, a year or two after that. So that's kind of when Randy started taking over for blessing the fleet. But those are some great stories, and unfortunately, you're just kind of being missed now just because of various different things. But yeah, that's kind of was my fishing my fishing thing.
Well,
but
the point is, you need to be a participant. You need to be out there and get the feel of what it's like to be fishing. So you need a boat. I got one for sale.
And
I'll help you out.
I have to agree with Chris. I love the Big Rock and I follow it immensely, but I found it was very lacking this year as far as news and access and knowing what was going on. Like they would go live on Facebook or YouTube, but they would do a couple boats, cut it off, and maybe if they knew a marlin was coming in, they would go live. But in the past, they would leave it running to where you could see all the boats coming in with the big wahoos or the dolphins or mahi-mahi, whatever, and you got to watch that. But this year, I found
liked
it
better
very
when you could go down there and stand around and watch the
but there's no
hundreds of
place to
people.
park.
Walk. That's what you exercise
No,
for.
it's gotten so big, and I don't blame the people. If I could go, I would go, but it's just too much these days to try to find a place to park. You walk, sit out.
Call Uber.
and Rayford, you'll get a kick out of this. I might have shared this.
Chris, did you see Rayford down there this year? No.
No, I don't need to go down. I don't go down there to watch him.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rayford was hanging on the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't got.
I don't know if I shared this story with you, but one of my first years I've covered the Big Rock. This was 20-some years ago. They call it the fish dolphin, but it's really mahi-mahi.
No, it's not. It's dolphin.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we go.
And there were people getting upset saying, "How dare you kill a dolphin fish?" Thinking it was flipper, and then they brought in a dolphin fish and the scale, and somebody said, "Well, that's one ugly dolphin."
Well, what the real fishermen do, they refer to them as dolphin fish. There's the dolphin, and there's the porpoises. I've always called them porpoises and not dolphins. But then there's the dolphin fish. So a lot of people will just say dolphin. Some people will say dolphin fish. They're known as mahi-mahi. But that's on the dinner table. They're known as mahi-mahi as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They're also known as El Dorados or Dorados, all sorts of things. But, dolphin fish. That's what we know it as.
But we had to reassure the nice lady that it wasn't. They weren't catching flipper.
Flipper tastes good too. It's not a big deal.
Stop.
They call him Flipper, faster than lightning.
Okay, before we get in trouble, what in a month we've got just a month to go? Is that what it is?
Yeah, weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks to go.
That's
July 30th is the first day of official high school football practice.
Yes.
So the teams have already, they've been doing stuff, throughout the summertime. And like I said before, these things are not mandatory. So the weight room worked out, so all conditioning is not mandatory. You're not going to get cut, but if you're serious about playing football, you're coming out to these workouts because you need to, get in shape and you need to, get strong in the weight room and be prepared for the season. But the first official day of practice is July 30th, and it's still an exciting day, and I'm looking forward to it. My goal, like I was able to do it last year, my goal is at least hit up all area teams, at least for a few minutes, on July 30th, for photos and things like that. So, I was able to make it work last year. I'm gonna try to do it again this year.
So, Chris, some of them. I'm sorry, Lee.
No, you go ahead.
Chris, so some of them start in the morning, right, and then some do it at nighttime, if I remember correctly.
Somebody like Jacksonville will go like at 7:00 in the morning. Richlands will go like 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Somebody like Crowtown will go at 3 o'clock because their practice field, their school is right on top of the water.
Right.
So they don't mind practicing when you get that breeze from the water there. Somebody like Swansboro will start practicing at 5 and Northside at 5 o'clock. So it just kind of coaches discretion, and if they have kids that have summer jobs, they'll take that into consideration. So, or just different things like that. So, that helps me out. When we have a few in the morning, maybe a few in the early afternoon, and a few in the around evening time. That helps balance things out.
So they meet with you on the
figure out when they're
29th
gonna
to
do
figure
it.
out the schedule to make sure that you're going to get there to do their school, right?
Yeah, I wish it was that simple, but they no. I've already asked these coaches, and all right, coaches, let me know if something changes. If you change it from 8 to 7:30 or 8 to 8:30, let me know, because that 30 minutes can make a big difference, and if I can be there or not. So that's information I try to get ahead of time. I'd rather be a few weeks ahead of not have to scramble to get information the last minute. So I already got a little spreadsheet of the practice times, and we'll see how it goes here in a couple weeks.
Okay,
I
I'm
have
gonna
a
be the news.
question.
I'm gonna be the news guy first.
Okay, be the news guy.
Being all of that, what you're saying is a fact, of course. Did you, in your discussions prior to the season, prior to the practice, did you by any chance influence them in changing any of their practice times because you weren't able to be there at a certain time? I mean, did they cater to you by any chance?
No, I mean, no.
That was not a definitive no, was it?
No, no. What I'll say is I will. If a coach has a hard time, trying to reschedule a game, or if hey coach, what time will the game be? What time will your playoff game be? Well, it could be 6:30, it could be 7. And I'm like, oh well, I got a thing going on at 5:30. So if you want to play your game at 7, wink, wink, hint, hint.
So what would 7:30 be okay with you, Chris? Well, that's
So,
good actually, and because they do want good coverage as well.
it's
It's a give and take, and that's good.
Yeah, and obviously they try to do what's best for their teams and their players and their schools and everything. But and again, it's all in fun. It's all I don't take it personal. They schedule it, but I do kind of put a bug in their ear, and sometimes it helps, and sometimes it doesn't. But like you said, it's nothing. It's all in fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I have one question, Chris. I know it's probably too early, but has a schedule been put out yet for the different conferences on games, times, dates?
Yeah. Some schools are still trying to put them online, but I've gotten all the schedules. Jacksonville will have 9 games again. They just couldn't find that 10th game, but they're going to open. They're going to open up against West Carteret at home.
Man, what a game!
On the 22nd. So
Okay, let's talk about West Carteret for just a second. Talk to me. What kind of intel do you have this year on them behind the scenes?
What do we need to do?
Yeah.
No, they're West Carteret. I mean, obviously, Jacksonville's had their way with them the last several years, but those kids are gonna play hard. They play hard in all sports. So, but I would still give Jacksonville the edge. They lost a lot of kids, Damon June, and a lot of seniors who graduated, and word on the street, a lot of those kids are going to step up and do well, and so I think Jacksonville's still going to. I think they're still going to be very competitive this year.
Good. Yeah. Well, we'd like to hear that. But if it comes a time that somebody needs to be delayed and showing up to practice or something like that, maybe get suspended for that one game at West Carteret, let us know.
Rayford.
What?
You can't do that.
Do what?
Well, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, but because of our General Assembly, who thinks it's a great idea. Here's my political 2 cents. The fact that we start school so late because they think it helps the tourism industry, which I highly doubt it, that extra 2 weeks does. We start school basically late August 25th.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And I mean, when I was in high school, we started school August maybe 12th or something like that.
Yep.
And we got out before Labor Day, and we loved it.
Yeah.
And that helps with exams. I just think it's silly that you have Christmas vacation, Christmas holiday, and then you have 2 weeks of your first semester in January, and then you take your exam, and then the third week in January you go back to school for your second semester. No, when you get done with the holiday break, and you go back to school in January, you need to go to second semester and take those new classes like they do in college. And but the fact that the schedule is kind of wonky, we have 2 weeks of football games before we even have the start of school.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, I just think that's silly. And obviously, the decisions aren't made because of the football schedule. I get that. It's just, I just think it's silly that school starts so late in the year. But maybe that's a topic that we can talk about in the show one day.
Yeah, we have a question too from a listener wanting to know on the list that you have for Jacksonville. Do you know when the homecoming game is?
I don't know it yet. The schedule I got from the coach didn't say it, but I would assume that it's probably it probably won't be the last home game of the season, but I would assume it'll probably be middle of the season. But as soon as I
who's the weakest team out there we're going to be playing at home?
I want to say October.
Isn't that the way they normally pick them? Find the weakest team that we're going to be playing at home, and that's going to be our homecoming game.
Never bank on anything.
Here's my prediction: the second Friday in October.
Okay.
Well, Drew, as soon as we find out for sure, we'll let you know.
Chris will let us know.
Yep. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know, Lee.
Thank you.
And then, but yeah, I would assume it'd probably be sometime in October. But I remember when homecoming used to be the last home game of the season, and now they kind of changed that to senior night. And then they always kind of pick the like you said, the weakest home opponent. But so there's been times where your homecoming game is like the third game of the season. And you've only been at school for like a couple weeks. I'm like, that's
it's confusing. Yeah.
Well, they want to get the powder puff game in.
Oh,
When weather's nice.
Y'all gonna jinx it all. Stop.
No, we're going to be full board this year. Full speed ahead.
Oh, that's right.
Watch out for those torpedoes that coming your way.
Maybe Chris and Kathy will come out to some with us.
and don't let anybody tell you, any particular listeners. Again, wink, wink, hint, hint, that football is the devil and that football needs is organized brutality. Don't let any of those those people tell you otherwise.
You have not revealed this year. I do have inside information that they are going to be wearing special helmets with lots of padding in them, made of cotton. They're going to be wearing heavy-duty face masks, and they're also going to be wearing Kevlar vests.
And knee pads and butt pads and, hey.
The biggest question on everybody's mind: how many NIL players we're going to have, Chris?
Well, the biggest question is how many NILs does Rafer Brown have?
I don't know. Okay.
Depends upon what NIL stands for in your book.
I'm scared to ask.
Name, image, likeness. So,
You paid for your likeness, your face.
You get paid. So if Rafer Brown if some car dealership wanted to, have Rafer Brown take part in and participate in a commercial, they would be able to pay him to basically help them sell cars, and so they do that with the athletes and coaches and people involved, and so athletes are able to get paid
I make more money the other way.
I was just going to ask you.
They have to pay me not to show up at their car lot with the camera.
Didn't they pass some kind of legislation or something now where these like college students can accept money from different sponsors?
High school
in high school?
They did, and I don't. To be honest, it's not really going to affect us here in Oswego County very much. You're going to see some of it in the bigger cities, Los Angeles, and big high school football places in Texas. But you're not going to see a lot of it here in Oswego County. But let's just say Damon June last year at Jacksonville. Yeah. Let's just say that a local car dealership or local business wanted to have him take part in a commercial. And use, hey, I'm so and so from star football player at Jacksonville High School. Come buy your car here. The car dealership will pay him to participate in that commercial because he's using his image and his name to help promote the car dealership. Right. The rule is that you're not allowed to wear your high school uniform or wear any kind of Jacksonville High School hat or shirt or uniform or anything like that. So the school cannot be involved, but you can use your name, like that name, image, or likeness to help promote those businesses. So I don't have a problem with that because like it's a job for kids. It's a job for kids, and if a college, if a big Nike wants to use a big name college football player to help sell shoes, and they pay, and he gets them in commercial. Well, he deserves to get paid because he's doing the work. So there's a lot more worse things that our young people could be doing, but like I said, because you're getting paid, you have to pay taxes, you have to pay, you have to do your W-2s and things like that. So these are jobs for young people. So I don't have a problem with it.
Well, good, because I had a call last night from Skechers, and they're looking for a reporter that runs a lot on football fields and basketball courts. So I'll give you a call later to represent you.
Yeah, tell me, I could use another paycheck.
Get you some Martha Stewart Skechers.
Would it be okay if if they give them a car to use for the year and they put their picture on the side of it and they drive it around town? Would that be a problem?
Well, that's that's part of the part of the controversy is how far can you stretch it, and can you and the thing is these colleges do use kind of those as a recruiting tool. Somebody like Alabama saying, all right, Rafer Brown, come play football here at Alabama, and we'll get you some NIL deals and get you in some commercials, and and these companies, so it's all legal. It is a little bit of a mess, but those are things that are possible.
So they could perhaps put a car dealer's logo on your uniform that you're going to be playing in, or your helmet.
Huh?
No, you personally couldn't do it, but if you ever noticed that some of the professional teams are starting to have logos.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And then obviously the soccer teams have the professional soccer teams around the world have their sponsors right on the front of their jerseys. So hey, that's I don't have a problem if Nike or AT&T or whoever wants to pay billions of dollars to have their logo on the Carolina Panthers uniform. That's more power to them.
Well, I think it'd be cool if during the Christmas parade here in Jacksonville, because that comes pretty much after the football season, unless they're into a lot of playoffs. That might be good to have the team on a float.
A lot of them do.
I know the bands are there, but that and some of the bands from the local high schools are invited. So I don't see anything wrong with having a basketball team on a float.
Cheerleaders.
Yeah, absolutely. Or forget the team, just put the cheerleaders on. What? All right, Chris. Anything else going?
Nope. I think that's we covered everything. Looking forward to the season, and then as always, I appreciate you guys letting me give you a call and give you a report.
Well, you can't hang up yet because you're going to have to moan and groan for a second here. After this one, you're going to have to take the place of Kelly today and say, "Oh Lord." Ready? So this woman goes to a doctor's office, right?
Oh no.
She was seen by one of the younger doctors. After about 4 minutes in the examination room, she burst out screaming as she ran down the hall. An older doctor stopped her and asked what the problem was, and she told him her story. The older doctor listened to it. He had her sit down and relax in another room. The older doctor marched down the hallway back to where the young doctor was writing on his clipboard. The older doctor said, "What's the matter with you? Mrs. Terry is 61 years old, has 4 grown children, 7 grandchildren, and you told her she was pregnant." The younger doctor continued writing, and without looking up, he said, "Does she still have her hiccups?"
Oh. No, I won't say, "Oh Lord," I'll say this. Wah, wah, wah.
I thought it was funny. Okay, Chris. Bye.
Bye, Chris.
Have a good one.
Bye. Unsettled weather through the rest of the week. Southwesterly winds today, 10 to 15 knots. Offshore seas, 3 to 4 feet every 7 seconds. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. You laughed, Chris. I thought it was funny. Southwesterly winds tomorrow, 10 to 15, 3 to 5 footers. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Saturday, pretty much the same story. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15, seas 3 to 4. Sounds and rivers moderate chop.
I'm canceling my doctor's appointment today. Today, showers and thunderstorms are likely this afternoon. Partly sunny with a high near 91. South wind 5 to 8 miles per hour with gusts as high as 16. Tonight, evening showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 72. Friday, showers and thunderstorms with a high near 91. And Saturday, a chance of showers, partly sunny with a high near 92.
Kelly probably had a relapse. Didn't she?
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered sports, we've covered weather, we've had some fun and jokes. And if anyone wants to call and have some fun, 910-333-0139.
Well, ring us up. The lines are open, and I do have 2 today. 2 lines. Count them. 1 and 2.
So you got the other.
So you want to be number
good.
1 and number 2.
Very good.
Those guys down in El Salvador seem to disagree with the U.S. president on who do those illegal thugs that he ordered sent to the country back in March actually belong to. Trump has maintained that once El Salvador accepted the deportees, that he had no control over them any longer. El Salvador tells the United Nations that it doesn't want that responsibility. It says the thugs actually belong to Trump. The UN report was included Monday in a court filing submitted by lawyers for the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. I got other names for it, and other migrant groups representing more than 100 detainees at notorious prisons in El Salvador who are challenging their removal from the United States to the maximum security Salvadoran prison. The filing included a copy of statements made by the Salvadorian government to a UN Human Rights Office back in April, part of an investigation brought on behalf of 4 families. Turns out that the Salvadoran government cannot be trusted to honor an agreement to take 300 scums in exchange for $6 million, $6 million US dollars that the United States promised them. The Trump administration in March invoked a 1798 wartime immigration law to more quickly deport Venezuelan nationals, including members of the TDA gang. Here's my thought. Were these people in the U.S. legally? Were these people that we sent down to El Salvador in the United States legally? Were they here legally?
They went through the court system.
They were picked up because they were illegals. They were illegal. What do we do with illegal people? If we catch them at the border, what do we do with them?
I usually arrest them.
Send them back.
In most cases, you turn them around, send them home if you catch them in time.
If you catch them in time.
The Coast Guard picks up illegals en route to the United States every day of the week, pretty much. They catch Haitians, they catch Cubans, they catch them coming from everywhere. They're aboard boats offshore, sometimes close to our shore. But if they ain't touching ground, they're gone. And that's the rule of the Coast Guard. They take them back to wherever they came from and they dump them. I don't know, or they dump them on land, but they're gone. They dump them.
Right.
We already export deportees. We deport them as illegals. By the Coast Guard does it regularly. What's the problem with if they get in here into these United States, we pick them up and we send them away? What is the problem with that? Why shouldn't we do that? I can't think of any reason we cannot. Yes, there are going to be excuses. We know who will call and claim that, well, they are here. They got here. Look at their, hey, they came from where? TDA. Y'all know who these people are? They're worse than MS-13.
Yes.
They are. There's a Venezuelan gang. They're active in Venezuela. They started in Venezuela. MS-13 started in this country. It started from El Salvadoran people who came into this country illegally for the most part, and they formed a gang. Then other people came here to join the gang. Why do we even allow them to be here? What's the reason? Give me a reason. Don't give me an excuse. All I hear are excuses. Well, we're good. We're people here. No, we need to be good to us. We need to be good to our people. If you want them, you take them into your homes. You pay for them. Don't expect American taxpayers like me, like these fine folks here, don't expect us to pay their tab. And yes, they are getting federal money for being here. In spite of what the laws say, nobody, you Google that thing, no, they cannot legally get this or this or this, but they're getting them. We found this out yesterday in a news conference with Sheriff Grady Judd down there in the famous Polk County,
Love that
Oh, yeah.
man.
Polk County, Florida. We'll talk about that in just a second too. But anyway, we know they're getting federal money. They're getting federal money. Feds don't have any money. They're getting taxpayers' money. They're getting your money. They're getting my money. If you pay taxes, it goes, why don't you just cut out the middleman, cut out the IRS straight to them?
Well, I think probably it started back with the Statue of Liberty. To bring it all into facts and logic, when the Statue of Liberty, we received that as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your tired,
Beware
your poor, your huddled masses.
Beware of free gifts.
Well, and I understand that to a degree, but every country has a president or a prime minister or somebody who leads that dictator. Part of their responsibility is protect their sovereign borders.
Right.
That's their job. That's their law. It's
That's
totally, But I'm not saying you can't help, but
when you start
there's a
helping
duty.
them en masse, people who sneak into this country, obviously, and you do not realize that this is a concerted, organized effort on the parts of some. Look at who
Terrorists.
these are. They're not a bunch of Mexicans coming across the border to go pick blueberries or strawberries or peanuts or whatever. They're coming from all countries all over the world, communist countries. They're known terrorists that we picked up a lot of. How do you know? Among all these other individuals that are coming across that border, which is nothing but a smoke screen. Coming across, they're members of the cartels, they're members of the Communist Party, they're members of ISIS, they're members of all sorts of terrorist organizations. We know that.
Mhm.
And yet we allow them. Even if there is 1 out of every 100, how many is, if 1 out of every 100, and we've got, 18 million illegals in the country now?
Somewhere around.
So 1 out of every 100, that's 10 out of every 1,000, that's 100 out of every 10,000. How many does 18 million make? How many does that mean that we have in this country? If only 1% are bad. Are you willing to take the gamble?
I was talking to a gentleman down the road from me yesterday. Was working on my mower. He was telling me about the people that lived a house down from, and the man was from the Dominican Republic, and I've been there a couple of times. They're wonderful people. This person happened to deal with the heavy duty drugs that got the FBI, the DEA. This is in Onslow County. To do a raid. He's now sitting in Onslow County Jail with a $2.5 million secured bond.
Good. He can pay for it in cash if he takes some money out of some account somewhere.
Yeah.
Drug cartel members can do that. Now, if the drug cartel wants him released, they will pay his money to get him out, and he'll never be seen again in this country.
No,
because he won't stand here long enough to go to trial. People like that are under no bond, and we try them immediately. We send them to prison.
Don't please. There are very many good people who have come to this country. My mom, God rest her soul, she was so proud of this young lady that worked at an assisted living facility, and that young lady was so happy when she became an American citizen. Oh, yeah. She went through the whole thing. She studied.
She became a citizen.
Yes. And
Congressman Jones used to, every 4th of July, go to Kinston, where they performed a naturalization ceremony. And there would be 100, 200, 300, whatever number of people who had gone through the process. Very good people, studied hard. All of these people were vetted. They were vetted by immigration. Now, to before you can become a citizen, you have, first of all, our government has to make sure you're good people.
Right.
That you're not here sneaking in here for other reasons. Then you have to take a test. And to take the test, you got to study. Now, I will put you money against donuts, and I like both. I will put you money up against any donuts that you want, that virtually every one of those people who becomes a citizen that way know more about our government, about our Constitution, about our background than any graduating college student. Well, not any, than most graduating college students.
I think that
Is that fair?
that is very fair, and I'll tell you why. Just real quick, don't want to bring total religion into it, but there's an old saying: convert Catholics make better Catholics than Catholics. No, because they study more, they know more about that religion. These people that taken the studying the history, like you're talking about, of the United States, know more than, unless they're the valedictorian, know more about the history
Pretty much.
of the United States.
It's a whole lot like, and I've said it, and a lot of other people said about adoptions.
Mhm.
Adopted kids, they really like it. They like to be chosen specifically because they are chosen. They didn't just happen.
Mhm.
In a lot of cases, it's an accident or whatever. You're a kid, you're going to love your kid. That's not a problem.
Right.
But when you go out and you make a concerted effort
Mm-hmm.
to adopt a child who needs a home, first of all, you're coming into a good household,
Right.
and those kids appreciate it. I mean, they should, as they should. And parents will appreciate them as well. And we, the citizens of this country, will appreciate every person who comes into this country illegally and becomes a citizen. Oh, they're so much better people
Absolutely.
than those who feel like they're privileged just because they're born here.
That's why I can't understand why people are having such fists about our government protecting us and trying to put out some of these bad people coming into our country that we're providing for and we're paying for and we're feeding and we're housing.
Yep.
You've got kids out there that need homes. You've got just, Rafer, you're going to get me started.
I'm going to get you started because we heard yesterday, it came up again. We knew it. We've heard it before. They had took money during the last administration. They took money from FEMA. They took money that was meant for FEMA to be used in times of emergency for situations like Texas, like now New Mexico, like
Carolina.
Helene. We money that FEMA had was used to house illegal immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Why is that a federal emergency management problem?
I'm all for anybody who wants to come to our country. I welcome you as long as you do it the right way. And, if you come into our country and you apply for citizenship and you get out there and I'll work right alongside of you. And I'll go to church alongside of you. I'll grocery shop with you. I'll go to the ball game with you. If you do it right.
Yeah.
There's no prejudice. That is not where it comes up. People use that as an excuse, as you just don't like brown people. You don't like Asian people. You don't like black people. No. I don't like idiots. I don't care what color you are.
I have a good friend that passed away last year, and she and her husband were very involved in an organization that took in refugees, and it's out of New Bern. And they had fundraisers, they took donations to help house these people, but they did it all the right way. And I would go to some of their functions, and learn about the different refugees that came into the country and stuff. But they always did everything the right way. And I didn't mind helping one bit. It made me feel good. But these people desperately wanted to live here, but they did it the right way. And I welcome them.
I have many friends that have dual citizenship from
Same.
other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And I have issues. I don't have issues, but I do have issues with dual citizenship. I probably should not. at some point in time, you need to declare your allegiance. Why do they have dual citizenship? I can give you a good reason.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, one of the families that I know they have a property home in Puerto Rico, and they have a home here in the United States.
Well, Puerto Rico is U.S. possession.
Right. But it comes to mind probably those that
Can
are.
they vote in the See, here's my problem. Can they vote in the Puerto Rican race for governor?
Never asked them, honestly.
If they can vote there and they can vote for the governor of North Carolina, I have a problem.
I'll see if I can find that out. They're good enough friends that they would tell me.
Yeah, sure.
But you look at your Major League Baseball players.
Yeah.
Most of them are from South
Dominican
America.
Republic, a lot of them.
Republic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so can they vote there and here? If they're here working as baseball players and they've achieved their citizenship, that's one thing, but I don't think ever that they should have the same privileges, i.e. voting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should be able to vote in two places.
No, most places you can't. So.
Oh, well, that's a question that I have, and nobody answers it yet. So, we'll see.
If somebody knows the answer, 910-333-0139, and a happy birthday, by the way, to Liz Onesius.
Yes, happy birthday, Liz. And I want to take a moment and brag on our North Carolina senator that represents Onslow County,
Oh,
Senator
good gracious.
Mike Lazzara.
Hi, buddy.
Signed into law. I'm proud to announce, this is his words, I'm proud to announce that my bill, the Military and Veterans Support Act, which is Senate Bill 118, has passed unanimously in both chambers and was just signed into law by the governor. This legislation reduces fees, expands education access, protects veterans from exploitation, and makes it easier for military families to call North Carolina home.
Yes.
The North Carolina Senate is advancing our mission to make North Carolina the most military-friendly state in the nation. Congratulations, Senator Lazzara. Job well done.
And I would love to have every one of our military. Now, if you're in here for 6 weeks training, you don't need to register to vote here. But if you're going to be here for, well, like they used to be for, 10 months?
Yes.
10 months to a year.
Right.
Marines were assigned, then they were moved out, but they're here for 3 years or more now, generally speaking.
Right.
But if you're going to be here, living here, or Fayetteville or San Francisco, if you're going to be living there for 3 years or more, you really might want to consider registering your vote, because you probably don't have a clue what's going on in wherever you came from.
Exactly.
It doesn't affect you. You can go vote for your city councilman or your mayor in San Jose, and you haven't been in San Jose since you enlisted in the Marine Corps 22 years ago. Why would you want to claim that and be registered to vote there?
Florida is the only one I know. Why, if they want to keep their residents in Florida, because they don't pay taxes, is the only reason.
This should be a United States of America, and we need to fix all of those issues.
Yeah.
Okay, those need to be fixed. There are some things that if you're military, you can keep your license plate from California if you've been here for 3 years or whatever,
and not pay taxes here on it.
Here's the other thing you cannot do though. See, we have mixed signals here.
Okay.
You cannot have a boat here with California registration on it if you're here for more than 90 days, whatever it is. It has to be registered in North Carolina.
Right.
How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
So why motor vehicles? Huh?
Good question.
Yeah.
I mean, they're laying rubber on our roads just like we do.
Yeah, they are. And, if they buy a car here, and they register it, they transfer their tag, or they register it in California, what happened to that road usage tax that you pay on it when you get, no, there is not one, is there? So, but what you're buying gasoline here and paying North Carolina taxes on the gasoline. Why not pay North Carolina taxes on as other North Carolinians do? And that road use tax goes to maintain our highways. So, what is the difference? We got mixed signals here. We're giving. It needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be straightened up.
I've got a question for both you gentlemen from one of our listeners.
I'm tired.
Any opinions on Trump walking back some illegal immigrants, particularly ones that work on farms?
Walking back.
In other words, not enforcing his rule of taking them out of the country.
Y'all know me. I'm sorry for you guys. Do it the right way. If you're working on farms and you're illegal, first of all, the owner of the farm should be arrested. Should not employ you. But there are people who come across into this country for the farming season, for the sharecropping, or not the sharecropping, but for the cropping or whatever, and they come across with work visas.
Yes.
They come into this country legally to do that. I've got no problem with that. I mean, if there are farmers out there who say, well, I can't find anybody to do the work. Okay. Then, we keep hearing about the prices going up on this, prices going up on that for every other reason. Then if the prices have to go up because you're going to be paying Americans or somebody who's legal to work here at the minimum wage or whatever instead of under the table, and they are paying taxes.
Yeah.
Then, first of all, what happens if somebody who's here illegally gets hurt on your job? Who's responsible?
I'm with you. They have the work visa.
Yep.
Come in and work the fields because for some reason, and I don't know. I didn't work tobacco fields growing up. I spent my time doing other things, but I don't know how many people actually work the farms like they used to back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
It's going to be more when the season is in, like cucumbers are here, or cropping, or digging potatoes. Most of that's done by machinery now these days,
right.
Like the sweet potato crop. But there are some jobs, I guess, out on the West Coast, picking apples, picking fruit, picking whatever. I understand that a whole lot of that is done by manual labor, or mostly manual labor. Okay. They got to hire somebody. Tell you what I do if I was in the state. You want welfare check, and we got a job for you. Here's your job. You don't get any money unless we'll supplement your income.
Right.
If you don't make enough, going out there and picking fruit.
Well,
if you're physically able, you're going to go work. If you're not going to get any money. That's showing you, buddy.
I don't want to throw it on the government. I really don't. I don't want to throw everything on government. However, the old days, if you were unemployed and you wanted to receive a check, you had to physically go and apply for so many jobs.
Sure did.
That's right.
Every week or every 2 weeks or whatever.
That's right. You had to make an effort.
Yep. Now, all you got to do is go online and show that you applied for a job.
Right.
And you're going to apply for a job you're not qualified for anyway.
Well, yeah.
And
they know how to outsmart the system.
Oh, sure.
We all know how.
And I just think Americans have lost that work ethic because it's easier to now get a check to do nothing than to get a check and do something.
Yep.
And that comes back to your pride as an American about working.
I've always worked. I've always worked. I was always very responsible about going to work. And I'm just that type of person. But you're right. I would see people that would use any excuse they could not to work and get unemployment and get welfare. And I'm like,
people used to kid about the greeters at
Walmart.
Okay,
there's nothing wrong with that.
They were those of the older generation,
that
reliable,
right.
and they were working.
Yes.
And now a lot of them are doing it because they need.
Need the money.
They need the
a lot
money.
of them enjoy it, want to do it. They want to be out and greet people. They want to
Keeps
see
you
people.
young.
They got no problem.
Right.
You know,
And you have to give the seniors so many kudos for that. I mean, they could sit at home, but
They
no,
could.
they choose to get out and
they
work.
could vegetate at home,
That's right.
or they could do something. And those who do something will live longer. Those who vegetate will be found in their homes by relatives after they've haven't responded in 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Body in motion stays in motion. So, I mean, kudos to everybody that's over whatever the new age limit is for a senior.
500. I don't know.
I just want to say congratulations to Onslow Memorial in Coastal Carolina. We had a guest from Onslow Memorial and Coastal in here last month talking about the new scholarship programs that they were doing for nursing, and they have signed it now, and they are celebrating their first nursing scholarship signing,
Yay.
and that was just like yesterday. So congratulations to both of them.
Like it.
And anyone interested in this program where you can go to school and they pay for your schooling to become a nurse, get up with the staff over at Onslow Memorial Hospital, because, I think it's a good thing. I mean, good education.
And then you've got to spend
A certain
Part of your
amount of
time
time. Yeah, I forget
at
exactly
Onslow?
how long she said.
yeah.
But what happens is when you come out of that nursing program, you are indebted
Yep.
to working
For a year,
at
2
the
or 3,
hospital
whatever
for a
it is.
year or something like
It's
that.
not forever.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say
Get your feet wet.
indebted. It's probably a fair word, but more than
Yes.
likely you're just going to get some on-the-job experience training,
Right.
and like everything else, that takes you to the next step.
That's right. It's better to
Which
get a
is good.
job when you have a job. It's easier to get a job if you have a job than it is not to have a job and start looking.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to like, hey, you got no work ethic. We don't know anything about you. And let me explain something to you guys, if there are any reporters listening. When you show up at a job or show up to apply for a job at a TV station that really has so many TV station news directors, they have
Excuse me.
200 or 300 applications on any given time. I used to. If you have your resume says, I worked here for 6 months, I worked here for 6 months, I worked here for 3 months, I did that. No, you ain't getting a job with most TV stations that are good. You're not going to get a job because they don't want you to show up. You don't even know the streets in the town that you're showing up in 6 months. I used to give them tests. After a year, I'd have our reporters, I'd get in the car and I'd say, take me to such and such a location, a very popular location, City Hall, and they couldn't find City Hall.
Yeah.
Well, that was a problem. So, and we had a come to Jesus meeting, and if you want to stay here for the second year of your contract, or you can leave now with just cause.
Right.
On my part, goodbye. But you need to learn these things. But if you just, I would always ask somebody that was not employed at the time they applied, unless they were just out of school.
Yeah.
I would ask them, why aren't you working at the job that you worked at 6 months ago? What's the reason for you leaving? Oh, I left because I'm looking for a better job. I didn't have to delve into it just a bit deeper. Come on, dumb question. A great question, dumb answer.
Wow.
In the morning news conference this week, Polk County Sheriff, that's down there in Florida,
Love him.
Grady Judd. I'll tell you what, I've already looked. He's married, so you got to leave him alone. All right. He was his normal flamboyant self, giving the basic details of a multi-county crackdown of human traffickers, detailing their criminal activities in vivid detail, showing photographs of some of the 255 men and women who were arrested in the 9-day operation. It's a sting. 255 arrests. More than 25% of them were illegal aliens. Ruh-roh. Yes, at the request of Sheriff Judd, ICE was requested to assist with those arrests. Many were businessmen. One was the director of a Red Cross unit, and he was also married to a police detective in another county. He was fired, he was jailed, and his cop wife packed up and left. Took her kids and probably everything else, including the bank account. Probably a good thing. The accused came to Polk County looking for illicit sex with underage girls and boys. That's part of the sting. They came from 12 different states. The sheriff said most of those arrested were smug until they learned they had actually shown up in Polk County. Apparently, Judd's reputation is spreading. One of the men arrested was the manager of a Walmart store. Not a manager, was the manager of a Walmart store. Guess what you got to lose, buddy? Your future. Many of those busted were in their late 40s. Most of them were, or older. Many were married. All were stupid. Don't believe it? Ask Sheriff Judd, because that's what he said. Once convicted, they will be registered as sex offenders for the rest of their lives. Speaking of which,
Kathy.
if you are concerned, speaking of which, if you are concerned or even curious about sex offenders, there is an app that you can load onto your cell phones, courtesy of the Onslow County Sheriff's Office. One of its features is Sex Offender Registry for Onslow County. A map of the county is displayed when you click on that little spot. It has sex offenders popping up from border to border all over Onslow County. You can easily click on little circles near your home and scroll through the list. It has photographs of all of those on the registry. Their crimes are detailed as well. Many of those on the list have been involved with underage victims, boys and girls. Victims' names are not listed, of course. Chances are you could learn that someone living not far from you is prominently displayed. Now, our very own Lady Blue, Miss App herself, can tell you how easy it is to set your phone up so you too can take a look at life in the lane of the bizarre.
Yeah, it's very easy. Go to the Google store and in your search bar, write Onslow County Sheriff's Office. It'll pop up. It should be top on the list. You click on that and it'll say, do you want to download? You say yes. It'll install on your phone. Then you hit the open button and you are ready to rock and roll. It will put you an icon on your phone's page. When you open up your phone, there'll be an icon there. You can also, anytime they have news to share, breaking news, traffic alerts, whatever, you will get a ding ding on your phone to notify you that the sheriff's office has just put out something. So.
And for those of you that think you're going to get an alert that they're coming to visit your house,
No,
Yeah.
forget it.
For those that don't want to see the sheriff's office at your front door, they're not going to alert you by app.
They might notify us after they
Yes.
take you into
Yeah.
tow, but that's going to be
Yes.
about it.
Right.
Kathy, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you guys?
We're crazy.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Well, I'll agree with that.
Okay.
No doubt about it. So you guys are talking. Let's see. We're talking about two different things.
Bunch.
Well, I'm going to get on the one about the sex offenders.
Yes.
When I was with the community watch in our neighborhood back in the day, I was with I was getting all that information, and we found out that the guy who lived across the street from us was a sex offender.
Oh, yeah.
We did not know that at the time, and boy, let me tell you what. When I put that out to all the people on the list, and his son happened to be on the list, who lived right next door to him, he was pissed. He was pissed. So it was like, well, it's like this. It's public record. Anybody could have gotten it, and it's public knowledge to put or availability to put it out, and that's what we are here for. And so he was not allowed to have any trick-or-treaters, but he did. So I'd report it. He was not allowed to be around kids, and he would do it on trick-or-treat night, be out there over their haunted house. So I'd call that one in. I mean, these guys are nuts. They don't abide by anything. So they figured to try to get away from it, but can't run from Stephanie. Oh, Kathy. I'm sorry, Kathy. But yeah, the sex offenders list. I'm still getting it for that area, not for this area. So whenever anybody moves in over in that area in Rigglewood, hello Rigglewood, I still let them know. But yeah, that sex offender list is great. I love it. It's fun to play with them.
Kathy, I want you to listen up to this one. When I punched up, the first one I punched up with on this list there this morning, this is interesting. His name is Drew Jordan Crawford. It's a public record. I'll put it out there. I mean, he's been convicted. His address as 717 Court Street. You want to know where that is?
That's the
Downtown.
jail.
Is that the jailhouse?
You know what else it is? He's 33 years old. He's 5 feet 8 inches tall. Okay, he's 5 feet 8 inches tall.
Oh,
His weight,
Here's a woman.
329 pounds.
Oh,
what? Is he busy with the cell door?
he hits the.
Okay, now let me go through. I want you to count these for me. Just do this with your fingers. His offenses, the ones he's convicted of. You ready? Sexual exploitation of a minor. Sexual exploitation of a minor, 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 and guess what? Sexual exploitation of a minor. 7 convictions.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
And see, that's what I'm saying. They don't check in, and they go out and continue to do the same crap, and they just move to a different area, which is what this guy did
Well,
after so long.
probably not now. He's in a jail.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad place for him. It's 3 meals and a cot. I mean, crap.
Whatever
He
he's
wouldn't
got.
love that one.
I still like
Good
that.
Lord, do you know how many? Yeah, Rayford, here he is, right here, 717 Court Street.
Yeah, I know. I told you.
Yeah,
It says
I just
Onslow
can't
County
believe somebody
Courthouse.
that big. Yeah, but somebody that
Here's-
big, I don't know if they'd be able to get in and out to go out and play in the playground area, would they?
Here's a female right now. She's
Yeah, I
got
saw.
the same address. She lives with the other guy
Yes.
at the jail.
Oh, how about that? See, you gotta
Wow.
watch them
A good
people.
place. Good place.
But-
Anyway,
Well,
that's out there for all you folks who you want to check it. But that's not all that's on that app. Okay, as Lee mentioned, there's a bunch of really cool stuff on there. Information about the sheriff himself and about the team, the jail information. If you got somebody in jail, I mean, somebody's been there, got busted, or relative, or friend, or whatever, and you can put some money in for their canteen privileges so they can get something other than the stuff that they officially give them. It gives also, here's a cool one, traffic alerts. This is big in this area. These people are being very conscientious at the sheriff's office now about putting traffic alerts. If there's a wreck at a lot of intersection, they put it out there, especially if there's a traffic issue there. Whatever. If you've got a concealed carry permit or you want to get one, yours is coming up for renewal, you can do the primary paperwork online. It's just click on here. You don't have to go searching for everything. No local news releases. That's for people like us. We can click on it, but you can too. You can see what they're going to be giving us. School resource officers, and a key one, check on the latest scams, not only happening in this county, but other counties that may have similar issues. It's a great app. I don't know who I'm going to give kudos to, but I'll find out today because I'm going to stop by the sheriff's office.
Thank you, Trevor.
That's what I'm thinking.
Probably Trevor, yeah.
Trevor has done such an immense job
Yes, he
since he's
has.
been there.
That's
And
amazing.
now Jacksonville Public Safety is starting to follow the same thing.
Which is great.
I love it.
We're getting information here, and the PD's doing it, sheriff's office is doing it. If we could get the highway patrol to do it, would be good shape. But those guys are on the road. They don't have a dispatcher here.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, and I mentioned that Kathy and I were near Home Depot when they had the fire yesterday, but JPD had posted it, and Rayford, you posted it on there.
Lee posted it. I didn't post it. Lee did it. I didn't do it.
Hot sales and deals
She just
yesterday.
used my name.
Okay, Lee.
They had a fire in a hot box at the one of the electrical boxes,
Yes.
and it overheated or it probably had a short in it. Those things happen. It happens at your
Yeah.
house. I had one, but I didn't have a fire. But they call out of an abundance of concern in a public place like that with hundreds of people inside. Yeah, you do notify the fire department.
Yeah, I'd
You
be
smell
happy
smoke?
to
Call the
leave.
fire department.
Yeah.
And get everybody out.
At least they don't have to go far for parts.
Thank you, Lee, for posting it last night.
Yeah, so
Well,
I
here's
just
what-
happened to see it as soon as Jacksonville Public Safety put it out, so I just shared it.
Yep, that's good. All right.
Here's
Right.
one for you. Who do we notify? And this is my gripe for the year, I think. When you get to call for an appointment or you need to call a department store, have you guys ever gotten these automated call people that sit there and ask you? Now, I hate to say this, but I'm not going to say their name. Anyhow, there's a certain business in this town that I absolutely love, but their answering service or machine is absolutely the most annoying, frustrating, and it really gripes my butt. they won't answer. They won't respond to the question that you're trying to get, or the answer you're trying to give them.
Okay,
They say,
here's your solution.
what are you calling for?
67% of the time hit zero. You find somebody who's an air breather. 33% of the time you're going to take you back. Well, we don't recognize that. Then just punch any number that they give you until you find a live person. If you get another answer machine, go back to zero. And then hit another. I get frustrated all the time.
Before you get to that point, you hang up and go another route, like drive down there in person, and then you're really pissed.
Or you get
By
this.
the time I get there, I'm unhappy camper.
Or you get this. Sorry, we don't recognize that response. Click, and you're like,
because let me tell you, they got two things going against them when I show up. One, I'm a scoring woman, and two, I'm a Marine. So you're in double trouble. So bam, bam.
We need to get her a cap for her birthday. Double trouble, right up top of it. Double trouble.
She has two.
And no, it should be double trouble. Then the symbol for a woman, and then U.S. Marine.
She has two kittens.
There you go. And put bam, bam on there.
There you go.
Bam, gotcha. And two is for beautiful American Marine. Woohoo!
okay.
Oh, Kate, that's not the way I learned it, but it's okay.
I know what you learned, Sid. You learned it the hard way. I learned it the new way. So.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy.
I'll have a great day.
Welcome to the land of the insane. Unsettled weather through the rest of the week. Southwesterly winds today, 10 to 15 knot seas, 3 to 4 every 7 seconds. Sounds and rivers, a moderate chop. Friday, tomorrow, pretty much the same thing. Seas kicking up just a little bit, 3 to 5. Sounds and rivers still a chop. Sounds and rivers a chop on Saturday. Guess what? Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knot seas, 3 to 4 feet. If you got 3 to 4 is not bad. If you got a John boat, 3 to 4 is bad in the ocean.
Yeah.
If you got a 30-foot boat, 3 to 4 might be uncomfortable. Except right now they're 7 seconds apart, and that means they're okay. There are multiple things you need to check on. If it's 3 to 4 and they're 2 seconds apart, it's going to be uncomfortable. Your boat can handle it. I don't know that you can. I don't know that whatever you had for breakfast is going to like you. Okay.
Okay. Now that we've got that one
Way with words
done. Today, showers and thunderstorms are likely this afternoon, partly sunny with a high near 91. Tonight, evening showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 72. Friday, showers and thunderstorms with a high near 91. And right now, we're at a 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms for Friday. Saturday, a chance of showers, partly sunny with a high near 92. And we do have a beach advisory through Saturday evening at this time.
Rip currents and rip currents.
There were some big boomers yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to clarify something because I notice that people go to sites called the other 98%, things like that.
What is that?
The other 98% are people that throw out falsehoods. Okay, about a lot of things.
I want us to call that propaganda in with a couple of companies that I worked with,
Propaganda.
not civilian companies.
Some use 2 letters to do it.
Some use 3 letters.
But there was one about FEMA in the mountains from Helene, and that the current administration, our governor sent a request for 100% more support for debris pickup. Mm-hmm. And that he was told no. He wasn't told no. What he was told was he would get 90% of it. And normally at this point it's 75%. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know of any cities that would say, "Oh, we won't take that. We want 100%." No.
But it's this false propaganda that goes out there. And I just wish people would
always look for the negative. Look for the negative.
Yeah, be positive.
I'm gonna give you some negative. One of the notorious. You guys remember the Hillside Strangler? Yeah. Do you know there was not one? I
saw that last night. You saw it too on 48 Hours.
No, I did not. I saw it.
It was on YouTube.
I didn't see it there. One of the notorious Hillside Stranglers. There were more than one. Yeah. You know that, right? That wasn't just one. Recently considered for potential parole up there in Washington State. Many people said, "What? how someone convicted of such heinous crimes, as in plural, could be considered for release. It happens, folks. You should know. If you don't know, if you haven't understood yet, I don't like this so-called life without the possibility of parole. It's only good until another left-leaning legislature takes over in your state. It can be changed. Change as often as they change the offices or the drawers. They can change. They can come down. Two things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
One is the legislature can say, life without parole is just that's kind of odd. Let's just change that back to the way it used to be. Life in prison, meaning 20 years or less, unless they've been good people. Or a judicial plea can say life without parole is cruel and unusual punishment. We have to be careful when we think it's okay to give somebody who should be executed life without the possibility of parole. It ain't forever, necessarily. Kenneth Bianchi, one of the men known as the Hillside Stranglers, is up for parole again. Families of his victims are both mad and they're afraid. A veteran FBI agent who worked the case said Bianchi committed some of the most brutal and cold-hearted crimes this country has ever seen. Why don't you put him in there in the parole board and let him? I think, first of all, parole boards should be disbanded and bring in some people who have been there, done that, got the T-shirt, retired cops, retired feds, whatever. People who have been behind the scene. You bring in the victims' relatives. Bring in some victims' relatives, not for the individual, and let them be on that parole board. See how far you get. See who's got a lot of. Anthony D'Amato, that's formerly known as Kenneth Bianchi. He changed his name. Is one of the infamous Hillside Stranglers, responsible for a series of murders involving women and girls during the late 1970s, including two killings in Washington. That's where he's up for parole. D'Amato and his cousin, Angelo Bueno, were also convicted of murdering 5 people in Southern California. Bueno passed away in a California prison in 2002. He got life in prison without the possibility of parole. He died. Acting alone, D'Amato also killed 2 women in the Bellingham, Washington area. Though suspected of additional killings, he was never convicted of those crimes. D'Amato then legally changed his name from Bianchi in 2023 to D'Amato. I have problems.
So weird. It's so weird that you brought that story up because I watched it just last night on 48 Hours.
If you didn't suspect that I was going to bring that
and I figured you must have been, it was on YouTube on 48 Hours, you know, they do a lot of stories. And I'm like, that's the one I just watched. Yeah, and a couple of those murders, they could not charge him with because they had no physical evidence.
Well, it's okay because he's in prison for the rest of his life.
That's
Keep
right.
him there, let him die. And
Yes.
once he's dead, if you don't, you can drop any other investigations about him. He's gone. When he's pushing up daisies, don't worry about him.
Yeah.
Until then, he's a threat to society and to the sanity. Can you imagine how the parents feel about the girls that he killed? Can you imagine the brothers and sisters of those girls, how they would feel if this society of idiots would to turn him loose?
One of the fathers that they interviewed, he was just, oh God, he even wrote a song and he's a performer.
Forget about that. Go out to the range and practice long-range shooting.
Well, you think about it. Charles Manson, how many times did he come up for parole?
Every year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, Chris,
Marcus Schrader was coming up for parole.
Yeah.
He came up for parole. The district attorney, I was in Wilmington, called me, said, we've lost a lot of people who were involved in this case. Can you go to Raleigh to testify with the probation board, parole board, if they actually come up again this time? I said, absolutely. They're not going to want to hear me. I stood over 4 bodies of his. I've since found out, retired SBI agent and I came to the conclusion he was responsible for the death of a hooker at Camp Lejeune during that same period of time. still
Wow.
unsolved, but
Wow.
we know it was him. It was his style.
And one thing going back to that sheriff's app is they have cold cases on there too.
Yes, they do.
And they, like you were able to get
Yes.
some additional information from one of the cases yesterday you were reading. And so a lot of information on that.
There are a lot of cold cases out there.
Yeah. So if there's anything that you can think of that, you can call them or notify them and let
Sign
them
up
know.
for that app and take a look at the cold cases. If nothing else, if you're not
Yes.
concerned about, sleaze buckets living down the street from you, look at these cold cases.
Right.
One of those sleaze buckets may be responsible for that. I mean, you never can tell. But take a look, see at that. Sign up for that app. It's pretty cool. I don't know how to do it. Lee had to walk me through it. But
It's so easy. It's just like any other app. You downloaded
It's an
one
app.
app on your phone. You did it fine. You were like ahead of me. I go, and
you said, click on this, click on here, click on there, done. Got it. Hey, see how smart I am?
I should have taken a video of Rayford actually downloading an app on his
I
phone.
would have hurt you.
Yeah. Can we go back to what Chris was talking about a few minutes ago? That 98% page.
Yeah.
That you were talking. You brought up that 98% Facebook page. Well,
Oh yeah.
Was social media and
Yeah.
Facebook, and I'd never heard of it before.
The other 98%.
The other 98%. So I looked it up and I found the facts on it, and it's a questionable source.
Of course.
A questionable source exhibits one or more of the following. Okay, they're saying that it exhibits extreme bias, consistent promotion of propaganda or conspiracies, poor or no sourcing to credible information, a complete lack of transparency, and or fake news. And I had to laugh because I'm like, well, that's like half the stuff on social media.
No kidding.
They
That's
said
one of them.
overall, we rate the other 98% questionable based on strong left-wing bias and lack of a fact-check record. Well, I got looking at the page and I'm like, what?
Well, they'd like to they'll take whatever stories that are coming out of Washington and then they'll spin it the other way.
Maybe some of our friends, this is where they're getting their stuff from.
I think it is.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I see them and I look at them, I was just,
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story
yeah.
or a good
Well,
lie.
how did you find this page, Chris?
Because, and I don't do a lot of Facebook. If it weren't for Wreaths Across America
Mhm.
and this program, I probably would not have
You got it.
Facebook. But I look, and you have that search bar on the top left,
Yes.
and I just pull that up and I look at it. But I also have some high school friends that
I wish I
are
had
very
some.
strong. You do.
I got some family like that.
But they so do I. But they post these things. Now, it's not their opinion. They're just posting the stuff from the other
Right.
98% or some of
Copy
these
and
others.
paste.
But,
Yeah.
and I don't know what our listeners, if they go to these sites or not, but that's how I find them. I don't subscribe to them
Right.
because they're not factual.
You know
Right.
what? You know what I found out? I found interesting that so many members, so many families, they communicate amongst themselves with Facebook, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I found out that they like to invite you to events and all that sort of good stuff like that, right? And I found out also, I came to the conclusion that they are excluding me and excluding people like me, which is a bunch of people, by
Right.
sending out nothing but the invitations via Facebook because I ain't looking at it.
Well,
I don't get them. Hello.
So
I
maybe
know
there's
that
a reason
so
for that, Ray.
there's a reason that they're doing that is so that they, I sent an invitation. Oh, hey, I didn't get it. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't get invitations in the mail anymore or via phone call. And what irks me more than
Well, then good. I don't have to go or
anything
show up.
else.
I don't have to bring a present, right?
what
Not a
irks, I tell you what really irks me is to find out a family member had some kind of serious issue, health-wise or whatever, and you have
And it
to
gets-
find out on
And it gets
Facebook
posted publicly on Facebook.
yeah.
before you even know about it.
Remember that great aunt that you really loved and she took care of you? Well, she died, but We posted it on Facebook. You didn't see it? Everybody else saw it. You didn't see it. Sorry.
I know a lot of people that actually they do not have Facebook.
I find more people dumping Facebook.
Well, I spend less and less and less and less time, and I very
You're
seldom
better
post
and better
anything.
and better person for it.
I spend more time on the radio station's Facebook
Well, that's the only
than
place
to
I
our
go.
station Facebook instead of my own. But once in a while I'll get a wild hair, and I had to post about the floods in Texas last week about how this was not a man-made event. This was a weather gone wild. And that we need to quit making it political, and we need to pray for the people in Texas.
Absolutely.
And boy, did it turn into a huge political argument on my Facebook. I just let it run.
Well,
I let it run. Whatever y'all want to talk about, fine. And then I got criticized for saying that I believe that we need to set aside the political differences and pray for these people. And I got criticized for saying pray.
How
for people.
dare you tell us to pray?
But I don't very seldom. But I told you it was posted not because of something I read on Facebook. It's because I was watching all these live videos from the scene.
Yeah.
People rescuing people just heartbroken because they just picked up the dead body of their 8-year-old, But the comments, you can look at the comments of everybody else watching it, and some of the comments were vile. And it just made me so mad. And of course, I had to post something, not meaning anything ugly, but there's some people that got ugly. Oh my God.
Well,
Whatever.
it happened. If you remember back, there was a group a couple of years ago with the school board. I'm just saying that there's people that are going to be out there antagonizing,
Right.
coming up and claiming they are this, that, and the other thing when they're really just a person.
Former co-host on here used to quote this thing: "Haters will always hate,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what their cause is. They will always hate."
And negative people will always be negative,
That's
no
me.
matter what. And no matter
I'm
what
negative.
story you talk about, they're going to find
can't go to
something
Egypt.
negative in it.
I can't go to Egypt anymore.
Why? Why?
An Italian belly dancer of Egyptian descent was arrested in her native country for using seductive techniques, according to media reports. Remember,
Isn't that what belly dancing is?
I hope not, because the Dancing Stars of Jacksonville, Onslow County,
I wish I had a
very
video
first
of
one in
that.
2012. I was in it,
I wish I had a video.
and
of
my
that.
partner was a professional belly dancer.
That's an art.
There's an art,
It is.
but not according to the folks in Egypt. It's
Yeah.
Shuhaida Tarek Hassan Hagag,
Okay.
a naturalized Italian citizen who was born in Egypt and holds Egyptian citizenship, was taken into police custody at the Cairo International Airport in June. She's accused of corrupting public morals with her provocative dancing. The case against Hagag, who dances under the name Linda Martino, I like Hagag better, was triggered by videos on her Instagram account in which she writhes around in revealing clothing and describes herself as more than you can handle.
Well, okay.
She appeared in indecent clothing. Indecent clothing. This is a quote from them. Deliberately exposing sensitive areas of the body.
Her belly button.
My toenails. In blatant violation of social values. That's what the investigator said. She appeared in indecent clothing. What?
Midriff.
Well, I thought that went out with I Dream of Jeannie.
Barbara Eden was the first.
She could not expose her belly button in that series. Did you know
Right,
that?
right. Yeah, we talked about that one day.
And
You brought
I
that
danced with her.
up. Yeah.
No, seriously. Not belly dancing. But she was at the Azalea Festival as one of the guests many years ago. Jerry Mathers was there. His
Jerry
brother,
Mathers.
The Beaver.
his brother,
Yeah,
whatever
I
his name
was
was, he was there.
Wally.
All different years. But anyway, she was out there, and at the workers' party, after the whole thing's over with, we just had a party for all the employees, all the staff, not employees, but the volunteers, 700 or so. And the stars would always show up. And so she said, "Hey, you want to dance?" I said, "Sure." So I had a chance to dance with I Dream of Jeannie. It was cool. It was fun.
You're right there with Larry Hagman.
Wait a minute. Oh, see,
Did he dance with her?
That was her master.
I know that, but did he dance with her?
When they got married, yes.
Oh, okay.
They got married?
Of course they did.
Larry Hagman?
No,
Major
I
Nelson.
Dream of Jeannie.
Oh,
Major
okay. Somehow, where did Larry Hagman come in at?
because
That's his name. His
that
real
was
name.
the actor. That's the actor who played Major Nelson,
Who married I Dream of Jeannie.
who was Barbara Eden, who danced with Rayford, and so Rayford and Larry Hagman
I
danced with the
stole
same
her
person.
away from Major Nelson.
I can
Okay, I
connect
was
all the
not
dots.
paying attention well, evidently. I did not keep up with that one.
910-333-0139. Join the insanity this morning. We'd love to hear from you. Anything else going on that we need to talk about?
Yeah, I have a correction for those.
I didn't do it.
There was a posting made from a news media organization about the municipal races for Onslow
Oh,
County.
yeah. Let's straighten out this whole
And
political stuff.
so I have the correct scoop. City of Jacksonville. These are the seats that are open that you can run for. All right, City of Jacksonville, you have 2 council member seats at large.
We know of one person who's filed.
Yes, Mike Gennaro has filed for one of them.
Yes.
We have Council Member Ward 1 and Council Member Ward 2.
Now, one of those,
Fernando,
Okay.
Fernando,
are they
forgive me. I
running
can
for
never say
re-election?
your- No, but he's running for the seat.
Right.
But there is one that is, I don't think anybody's running for re-election yet. Not according to the the sign-up list that I saw yesterday. Okay, Town of Holly Ridge, they do have the mayor seat that is going to be vacant.
Who is currently filled by an
An
appointed
appointee.
person who's never been elected
Mhm.
to anything.
He was
anywhere.
appointed as a
Appointed someone
council
else.
member when they had a vacancy.
Yeah.
And then when the mayor, Jeff Wenzel, resigned to pursue his business.
Yeah, he advanced rapidly, he became mayor.
Yes, and then he was appointed as mayor. So anyway, you've got the mayor seat, then you've got 2 council member seats, and then you have 1 council member seat with an unexpired term. And that would be where Pete, the mayor, was appointed from that seat to the mayor seat. So you've actually got 4 seats in Holly Ridge that are
Wow.
open, mayor and 3 council.
Okay.
Town of North Topsail, you've got the mayor seat and you've got 3 alderman seat
That are all open?
that are up for election.
Yeah.
So if they either put their bid in for re-election or
Okay.
whatever. Mayor of Town of Richlands, we never hear anything about Richlands or
We
the
got
mayor
perfect
there.
water. You don't need to hear anything else.
Yeah. But they have 5 alderman seats that are up for.
They're all up at one time?
Evidently so, because I think that's about all they do have is 5 in Richlands.
I don't know.
What would happen if
How about the
nobody,
mayor? Is he up?
mayor's up
So
too?
they got the mayor and all 5 council seats are up.
Yes.
Woo, they could have a whole change of.
They could have a whole change, but nobody's going to mess with Richlands. You don't
Well,
ever
remember
hear
that used to be the way it was with the Onslow County Commissioners.
Yes, until
at one
they-
time.
Right. And they've done the same thing with Holly Ridge and with North Topsail. They rotate them so they all
Same thing
are
with
not at the
Jacksonville.
same time. In Jacksonville also. All right, Town of Surf City, they have 2 council member seats that will
And,
be open.
and mayor.
And it doesn't show mayor here.
Really?
No, because if it did, then part of Onslow County would be able to vote. There's about 65 people that can vote in Surf City.
Yeah, okay. So the town of Surf City is part of it is in Onslow County, part of it is in Pender County.
That's
The
right.
vast majority is in Pender County. There's a little strip up there that's in Onslow County. If you've got a mayoral position open, then the people all over, everywhere in the city, which
Right.
includes the people in Onslow County,
Right.
can vote. They can vote for at-large seats. Do they have any? They don't have wards there, do they?
Mm-mm,
For the
no, they
council.
don't.
So they should be able to vote for the council too, right?
For,
You'll check that.
for which one? Surf City?
Surf City.
So said-
Yeah, the only thing right now for Surf City is those 2 council seats.
So which means that there are at large. They don't have wards.
Right. They don't have wards there.
So Onslow County residents can vote. Why did I just see that somebody is filing for mayor?
Not that I know of, because those that live on the Onslow County side would be eligible to vote for that mayor position also. There's 60-something
Yeah, but
people.
there was a story in, I think, the Daily News.
There was a story in the Daily News that said the Jacksonville mayor seat was up, but it's not.
Well, they had a guy who was running in Surf City or Court. I don't know.
I will
I'll
double
it.
check, but this is straight from the Board of Elections. I was there the other day, and I got the list. Then let me see. Then we go down to the town of Swansboro.
I was just getting
The
ready.
mayor seat's up, and 3 commissioner seats are up.
They're called commissioners there.
Yeah, town commissioners in Swansboro.
That's going to be interesting races down there.
Oh, yeah. Because things got changed around after John Davis, who was the mayor.
Yes.
He left almost a year ago, when he ran for county commission here. And so there was somebody selected to replace him.
It was voted, the mayor pro tem was voted in to replace. John
But that was
Davis.
only to fill the unexpired term of John Davis, right?
Right.
That's right.
And then the mayor pro tem's position as a council member,
Right.
that was filled by
Yes.
somebody else.
Right. Correct. And then that left an open position, which the council voted on and brought a young woman in. I do not know her name right now. I try to watch the meetings, but they're so poorly videotaped. The audio is bad, and you know,
It's done on a
it's-
cell phone.
I don't know.
Likely.
They need some improvement, and I'm sure they will. I mean,
For a fee,
but
I can handle that for you. Listen,
anyway,
we can wire that sucker up.
if you are interested in applying and, you know, putting your name in the hat, you've got until noontime on July 18th.
Which one can I run for?
An at-large in the city.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing you're eligible for.
I'm large.
And I believe Cindy Edwards holds the other at-large seat, and she's running for re-election. She's done a fabulous job. So Yep.
Okay.
very
Good.
good.
Who's-
Two good candidates. Mike Yanero,
Yeah.
Watch out,
Cindy
Cindy. I'm
Edwards.
coming for you.
Yes. And
How
I think
about Back Swamp? Who's running there?
there's nobody running in back swamp.
So I could run there?
If you want to.
If once they become their own city, sure, you could be mayor of Back Swamp if you want
I
to.
don't want to be. I just want to be mayor.
You're mayor of Country Club.
Sergeant in arms here.
Yes.
Okay, you got that all
Talking
straightened out
about
now?
political stuff, let's talk about his former Minnesota resident who appeared in the St. Paul federal courtroom this past week, admitted filling out hundreds of fraudulent voter registration applications.
Oh, come on, there's no voter fraud.
The state's
we've
top
heard people
elections
say it.
official said that this was the largest case of this kind that he's ever seen, but routine checks prevented all of the fictitious people from making it onto the Minnesota voter rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you how they did it. What happens is they were
Take some notes,
part
Chris.
of a group, and I've seen this in North Carolina. And I'm not saying election fraud, but what happens is that you've got these political action committees, et cetera, and they will entice people to come in and volunteer, and sometimes even pay you to go door to door to door to door, or they'll pay you to set up voter registrations, and you get as many as you can. And what happened was, this man and woman, they were working for this one voter registration group, and they were getting paid by the number of voter registrations they did. And they would write down phony names, including names like Brad Monthly and
Brad,
Harry
what?
Brad Monthly,
Okay, I know him.
Harry Johnson, with fake addresses, social security numbers, and other information. Harry Johnson. And then they would hand the forms to the foundation, which then submitted them to the county elections office. And of course, you know, the county elections office has to check all those. In Minnesota, I'm not sure how well they do that, but they were able to eventually, realize that they were being frauded. But the whole motivation was financial, not political.
Mhm.
See, but I know that there are different types of apps that are used here in North Carolina, like WinRed or whatever, and you can go on there as a poll worker or a elections worker. You're working for somebody's campaign, and you can go on there, and it will tell you each house, if it's a Republican, Democrat, or whatever, and you can go to these different houses and knock on the door and say, hey, I'm representing so-and-so. I'd like to leave you a brochure, or I'm Mr. So-and-so myself, and I'd like for you to vote for me. But I know in the past, and I know of people that have done this, they'll get hired by a political organization to go out there and campaign for them, but they don't actually go knock on the door. They just sit there and punch in that they were there, and they're getting paid for this. So
I need to get on that job. I can do that on the computer, can't I?
All you have to do is drive down the street. If they've got the GPS in them now, drive down the street, stop long enough to hit it and say, yeah, nobody was home or whatever.
Okay.
I know people that actually sat at home making money that they weren't entitled to.
They're called scammers.
I could put GPS on my doggy and let him do it for a walk.
Yeah, there you go. I call it karma's going to get you.
Yeah. Remember that little assassination attempt last year on Donald Trump before he was the president?
Yes. Tell us about that.
6 Secret Service agents have been suspended without pay or benefits
Whoa. Is this the first one?
in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Matt Quinn, the agency's deputy director, said yesterday that they were not going to fire their way out of this. In other words, we ain't going to fire these people and it's going to be ended right then and there. We got other problems. He did say they are laser focused on fixing the root cause of the problem. Would you please tell me what the problem is? Quinn said that the agent's penalty ranged from 10 to 42 days of unpaid leave, adding that they were placed in restricted roles with less responsibility once they get back on the job. So they got to spend anywhere from 10 to 42 days without a job, no badge, no gun, no job, no money.
No benefits?
No benefits. He said the disciplinary actions were in accordance with the federally mandated process. Don't have a clue exactly what it was. We remember the Secret Service agency came under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of criticism from both us, citizens out here, and also from the Congress, of course. Congress is going to blame somebody. Whatever happens, they're going to blame the weatherman or the Secret Service. It's happening. Think about it.
Well, what did they base this on? That they failed to secure the area? That they failed to investigate the area?
Somebody got off some shots.
Yeah, well, you know what? I have to say that, they didn't check that area. I mean, they knew about the sloping roofs and stuff. Why didn't they have somebody up
The
there?
Secret Service director said Butler, that's the town where it happened in, Butler was an operational failure, and we are focused today on ensuring that it never happens again. He also said the agency is focusing on the root cause of the operational failure and fixing the deficiencies that put us in that situation. Okay. Secret Service since then has introduced a new fleet of military-grade drones and mobile command posts to improve radio communications with local law enforcement. That was probably the primary cause of it. Now, if these 6 people that they did whatever suspended, are they just the people who were on the scene? Did they suspend them? How about the bosses? I want to see some bosses. Whoever was in charge of not doing this job, who did not see a problem in this all along, who did not set up the radio comms. Where were these among those 6? No.
I recall there was a failure of communication between the two.
Major failure. You had cops on the ground saying there's a guy on the roof up there, but the word never got to the Secret Service who had eyes on the roof up there.
That's right. That's right.
They should have once that word went out, they should have all focused on it. And it's a simple matter.
Right.
I called communications company, I know, and I said, how difficult would it be to produce, if it was designed with this in mind, to produce something that would be so simple for one person assigned to a presidential detail or candidate's detail to have this box with your own communications in it, which are all going to be scrambled, and y'all communicate with each other, but have one person monitoring all of the other agencies that are going to be there, hopefully on the same channel, and then be able to marry those two together with a push of a button in the time of an emergency. He said, that's no trouble at all. I know it's not. In the day of communications with commuters, oh my Lord, I'm looking at one right now for me.
Yeah.
As soon as I get a GoFundMe account, that will allow me to go anywhere in this house or anywhere in my car with a computer and anywhere in the world with internet and be able to use my radio sitting in here on my antenna sitting in here to transmit to people anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Now, that's in the amateur radio arena, the ham radio guys. And you tell me the Secret Service doesn't have somebody, maybe you need to hire a ham like they did in World War II. I want you guys, I'm going to give you a link. Did I send you that link?
Yes.
Yes.
That is a
I
link
have not watched it.
that you need to watch.
Yes.
It's short.
Speaking of such, Rayford, isn't there some kind of memorial service or something going on with the ham radios tonight?
Yeah, well, the service was last night. The ham radio guy that was killed, his funeral is today. He was in.
That's the one who was putting up an
He was
antenna.
putting up an antenna at a location that they do something called Parks on the Air. Hams do that every day all over the country. They go out and set up a portable antenna and a radio, and they talk to other hams all over the country, and they collect points for it. They get nothing but a little certificate. It's no money. There's nothing like that. That's not what hams do. But he was putting up an antenna at this location. It was at I think it was an old battlefield. And he put up the antenna, and it came into contact because you're doing this alone 99 times out of 100. And it had a wire antenna hooked to it, and he came into contact with an overhead power line, and he was killed. 57 years old. So his memorial service, visitation, yada, 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 was last night. Funeral services are today. So
he rest in peace.
Yeah, hams for all over the state are going.
Right. I read where they're going to be doing something special on the air on ham radio
Probably
tonight. So, yeah. I
Okay,
thought it was so
that's all we
nice.
got.
That's all we
Tomorrow's
have.
Friday, the real Friday.
Yep.
Going to the weekend. We're on the fast track now. You guys who normally take off half a day on Friday, we'll talk to you tomorrow. And then those of you who take off a half a day today to get ready to take a half a day tomorrow off, okay.
Enjoy.
Well,
Have fun.
It is Friday Eve.
It is Friday Eve. We do appreciate y'all listening, and Chris Bunter for his comments today, and our buddy Kathy, my rock climbing friend.
She's still doing them.
Does she climb rocks too?
She doesn't climb them, but she is a pain
She
away,
makes them, yeah.
and she is.
Doing a good job. I like these two right here.
She does a very good job on them.
Yeah, there's don't forget to smile. Well, I am smiling, Kathy. That is my smile. I'm a lot like Walter on the Jeff Dunham. I got a little bit more hair, not much. Okay. What do we got?
What have we got? I don't know. We were waiting to get confirmation for tomorrow on one guest, and I'm not sure.
Oh,
that
yeah.
we
I
heard any
got
more.
to confirm with him too
Yes,
today. Yes, I
yes.
know who it is. Johnny, I'm coming to call you.
Yeah, it'll be a great show
Oh,
too.
right.
So
Lord, God help us.
check back with us tomorrow. We'll be here at 7 a.m.
Live, that's Eastern time, y'all. Live and local real talk, where we're always awake, never woke. We'll see you in the morning. Be safe.
Have a great day.